All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We are diving back into the world of Fanny Bartanix and her experiences.
And we're really focusing in on the beginning
Yeah, the
preparations that she and Laura went through to leave Europe by boat from Tenerife.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is pull out the most intriguing pieces of those first few days of their ocean crossing and just kind of give everybody like the real core of what that experience must have been like for them.
Yeah, so it's almost like that last-minute rush, when you're about to go on a trip. But this isn't just, grabbing a taxi to the airport.
This is major.
This is like we're crossing an ocean, and they're in Tenerife, and you read this section, and you really get this sense of, like, anticipation for this huge undertake, 15 days.
Yeah.
No communication blackout.
I mean.
And Fanny thinks about her mom and dad,
Yeah.
And she's worried about them.
Sure.
Knowing that they're going to be worried about her.
Sure.
And not hearing from her.
Right.
And it really makes you think about how connected we are all the time and how different this experience must have been for them.
It makes you think about, like, what would that even be like, these days, to just cut yourself off from everything for 2 weeks, just completely go off the grid?
Yeah.
What does that do to your sense of presence? And in a world where we're reachable 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's like you're forced to be in the moment.
Exactly.
And those last messages, like the way she talks about carefully choosing her words, like there's so much that's left unsaid. It just really emphasizes, the huge emotional shift that they're going through.
And then, physically leaving the shore.
Yes.
Fanny describes these emotions, this mix of fear and excitement, and then this huge realization of no turning back.
I love that image of them pulling away from the dark, and that coastline is receding, and the land is just disappearing. And it's just them and the sea and the sky.
Wow.
It's so vivid, you can almost feel it.
It's like being right there.
And, if you think about it, like... these transformative experiences that people have, this is such a classic part of it. That moment when you choose to leave behind everything you know and you head out into the unknown, and that image of the land fading away, it's like a symbol of that. In that transition.
So they're out on the ocean.
They're off.
And, it's not smooth sailing right away.
Right.
She talks about this adjustment period to being in constant motion.
Yeah.
And Fanny even mentions that it wasn't entirely comfortable at first.
Right.
But then there's this part about the fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
And you wouldn't think it would be so important.
It's funny, the details that stick out to you, right?
I know.
But what's interesting is how strategic they are about this.
Like you just wouldn't think about it.
In fact, it's not just chucking a bunch of stuff in a bag.
No.
They bought more than they needed.
Yes.
Some of it was unripe.
Yeah.
And that just shows a deep understanding of how to make your food last for a long time at sea.
Wow.
It's like a whole other level of thinking about food.
It really is.
Compared to what we're used to.
Exactly.
You and I, we go to the store. We buy what we need.
Yeah.
We stick it in the fridge.
And we don't even think about it.
Exactly.
We take it for granted.
It's totally different for them.
And then the ones that go bad.
The casualties, as she calls them.
Yeah, she calls them the casualties.
Yeah.
And they just throw them overboard.
Food for the fish.
Yeah. You see this little ecosystem playing out right there.
I love that it's this little reminder that everything's connected. Even when you're in the middle of nowhere, what they don't need anymore becomes food for something else.
Yeah.
Nature's pretty efficient like that.
It is. And then this is great. She mentions the captain.
Oh, yeah.
Who is not just this amazing sailor, but he's a great cook.
A real Renaissance man.
And he's making these incredible
Asian dishes.
Yeah, almost every day.
Every day, fresh meals.
Can you imagine?
It's like hitchhiking across the Atlantic in style.
Seriously.
Like, who gets to eat gourmet food while they're, roughing it on the open ocean?
So interesting. But she does mention the cleaning duties.
Right.
So it's not all,
It's not all just fun and games.
Exactly. It's not a luxury cruise.
Yeah.
There's work involved.
Yeah, we've got to keep things clean.
And running smoothly.
But it sounds like those meals and just the, open schedule
really fostered a sense of connection. She says that conversation just became like the main thing they did every day.
Right. They had nowhere to be.
Yeah.
No deadlines, no obligations.
And think about that.
Yeah.
In our busy lives.
Right.
To have that opportunity to really just connect.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
And, she mentions this eclectic mix of people on board.
Yeah. Tell me about them.
There's a racer.
Oh, wow.
There's a tourist guide.
Okay.
And someone who just loves the ocean and wants some peace and quiet.
Wow. What a combination.
Yeah. So interesting how they all ended up together.
Right. And despite these totally different backgrounds and reasons for being there, she says that they all shared
this deep reverence for the sea.
Yeah, it wasn't just a way to get from point A to point B.
No, this is their home for now.
Yeah.
This was a place of refuge for them. And that must have been a powerful bond.
It really must have.
It makes you think about how nature can bring people together. And that shared vulnerability.
Right.
I mean, the ocean in this situation really creates a sense of community among people who probably would never have met otherwise.
Yeah, it's like that common ground.
Absolutely.
So they have their routines.
Yeah, they settle into a rhythm.
Yeah, in the evenings, they're playing cards, listening to music.
Sometimes watching movies.
Yeah.
But then there's also these quiet moments.
Yeah.
Just listening to the waves.
It sounds so peaceful.
It doesn't, it's like life gets simplified.
Yeah.
And, you know, she makes the point of talking about letting go of her worries about home because she realizes there's nothing she can do about them in that moment.
Right.
So she focuses on the present.
It's such a good lesson.
It really is.
To learn.
And it's something that the environment seems to be teaching them.
Yeah. She says that worry was a useless emotion.
Right. Like if you can control something, do something about it. You can't.
Yeah.
What's the point of worrying?
You know, it's like that gradual acceptance that she learns from the ocean.
Letting go.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced that?
Absolutely.
Like in a different way?
I think a lot of people have.
Yeah.
It's like that wisdom that you find when you accept what you can't control.
Yeah.
And you just focus on what's right in front of you.
Right.
And I imagine being out on the ocean like that.
Yeah.
With the vastness all around you.
Right.
It really puts things in perspective.
Yeah. It makes your everyday problem seem so small.
Exactly.
And the way she describes time is fascinating.
Tell me about it.
So the daily tasks become routine.
Right.
But the time itself is unpredictable. And then she talks about seeing a tanker on the horizon.
Oh, yeah.
And watching it slowly pass by over 3 days.
3 days?
Can you imagine that?
It's
72 hours?
To just watch another ship go by?
I mean, talk about the vastness of the ocean.
Right. It really underscores how tiny they are.
It does.
Yeah.
It's like a humbling reminder.
I love that phrase.
Yeah.
A humbling reminder.
And then she starts to imagine, you know,
what's going on the tanker?
Yeah. Who are those people? What are their stories?
Right.
And she even thinks about trying to hitch a ride.
Which is kind of funny.
It is.
Given their situation.
But it just shows you how isolated they are.
Yeah.
Like another ship is a major event.
Right. It's a whole different perspective on the world.
It really is.
And, you know, it's a world where time is measured differently.
Yeah.
It's not about schedules or appointments.
Right.
It's about the rhythm of the sea.
Yes.
The sunrise and sunset.
And then there are these moments that are almost funny in a dark sort of way.
Oh, yeah.
Like collecting the flying fish.
Oh, my God.
And she calls it morbid.
Yeah.
But you can see the practicality of it.
Well, yeah, they need to eat.
They need to eat.
And it's just a reminder that life at sea can be pretty unexpected.
Yeah.
And then there's that story about the flying fish hitting the captain in the face. I mean, that's just slapstick comedy.
It is.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's a surprise,
Yeah.
the drama.
And then he's like, okay.
Just like that, into the pot.
And they all laughed about it.
Yeah, it's like these little moments of humor that
Yeah.
really bring out the human side of things. It's not all, you know, deep thoughts and introspection.
Yeah.
There's laughter.
And you know, that shared laughter, especially on a small boat like that,
exactly,
really helps them to bond.
It's a powerful thing.
So as they continue on this journey, Fanny starts to experience this shift within herself.
Interesting.
And her mind, which is normally so busy, starts to quiet down.
Like it's calming down.
Yeah, she doesn't feel that need to constantly be doing something.
Or planning.
Or planning the next thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen?
You know, I think a lot of people have experienced something like that when they change their environment.
Right.
Especially when you immerse yourself in nature. Yeah.
And the ocean is about as vast and unchanging as it gets.
It's a powerful force.
It encourages you to slow down.
Yes.
To just be in the moment.
Yeah.
And for someone like her who has a really active mind.
Right.
That must have been incredible.
She talks about learning to move with the ocean's rhythm instead of fighting against it.
Like surrendering to it.
Yeah. And then she starts to reflect on time and how those 15 days could feel like forever and like a blink of an eye.
It's a trip, right?
Yeah. Have you ever felt that?
I think we all have. When you're outside of your normal routine, time just kind of warps.
Yeah, you lose track of the days.
You do, because you don't have your usual cues.
Right.
The clocks and the schedules.
Yeah.
So time becomes this fluid thing.
Yeah.
And it's measured by the sun and the tides.
Exactly. And that's how it is for her.
Yeah.
And then at the end of this section of the book, she has this beautiful line about feeling like
she's become part of the ocean's story.
Wow.
Just as the ocean has become part of her story.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's this deep connection with nature.
It's about feeling like you belong.
Yes.
You're part of something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we can all relate to.
Yeah.
Even if we're not sailing across the ocean.
So this first part of their trip
yeah.
is filled with so many important moments. Those initial emotions as they leave.
Right.
The everyday things they have to deal with, like the food.
Yeah.
The connections they make with each other.
Yeah.
Learning to let go of worry.
Right.
The vastness of the ocean.
Which changes their perspective.
Exactly. And those unexpected bits of humor.
Yeah.
And through it all, she's changing.
She's transforming.
Becoming a different person.
And, you know, it just goes to show you
yeah.
that even at the very beginning of a big journey like this,
right.
the environment and the things you go through can have a huge impact on you.
It's incredible.
So for everyone listening, think about a time in your own life when a change of scenery or a change of pace led to some unexpected insights or a shift in how you saw the world.
Yeah.
What connections can you make to Fanny's experience?
It's a great question to think about.
And keep in mind that this is just the beginning of their Atlantic crossing.
Right.
And the book hints that later on, Fanny really dives deep into her thoughts about things like sunlight and colors and the constant movement of the waves.
Okay.
And even the nature of time itself.
Wow.
So there's definitely more to come as their journey unfolds.
Can't wait.